the front door to the McHenry mansion, and they were very, very nice to let us take a video.
This is a Victorian Italian home. If you would come to see McHenry's, you would always come through these doors. Only the guests would come through these doors. So this would be their entranceway. If you wanted to see Robert and Matilda, you always had a little dish with the calling card. So back then, 1883, back in the 1800s, if you visited somebody, you'd have a card with your name on it. Mm-hmm. So you'd bend a corner to tell them what you wanted, such as, I'm here to give condolences, or I'm here to invite you to a party. If she wanted to see you, Matilda, you would come and wait in the reception room. We had a fire in 2011, and it was really on the front porch. Oh. And so we got smoke damage more than anything. We have a hair salon across the street, and the owner came out like 7 o'clock, came out and saw the smoke and called right away. So God. They were able to get it. But we were closed down for 3 years because we had to restore from all the smoke problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, because I saw that they made this into apartments at one point. This is not, some of the stuff's original, I'm sure.
Yes, so we have about 8 or 9 items that are original to Robert and Matilda McHenry from 1883, but everything in this home has been restored back to its original time period of 1883. Okay. So everything in this house, everything is original to 1883. Okay. There are only a few things that are original to Robert and Matilda, such as the hinges on this door, those are original. So if you look at the hinges, those are original.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah, so they duplicated all those hinges throughout the whole house. And in the front parlor, this mirror is original. That mirror is original, and it's been here 54 years. And that's it. The gas chandelier, we still only have 1 gas chandelier left, and we light that at the Dickens Fair. These everything was gas. They're lights, they're chandeliers. And see that rosette up there? Mm-hmm. They would take that down, paint it, and put it back up because soot would get the ceiling dirty.
Okay, so what this was in those days, in the 1880s, you were never allowed to be alone in a room with a boy. This was used for that purpose, so you could visit. And also, it was used, one of the McHenrys came through who had been here as a little boy. I think it was Merle. And anyway, he said that he remembered it being for a timeout when he was naughty. He was put in there.
Oh, there you go.
And he remembered that there was a real ominous-looking Indian sitting there on the desk. So this is a back parlor, and this is where the family would gather to entertain themselves in those days. So anyway, they did things like they played the piano and they played parlor games. That's what they called them. Then that came after this name of parlor. This is the library, and they were really into nature during that time, and so pretty much from all the rooms you kind of get that feeling. So, there's pictures of Yosemite here, and these 2 were original. You probably heard that as well.
So these are the original pictures from the house?
These 2 are original from the house. So you're seeing, that's why you see the peacock and the buck up there, and there was nature dead or alive,
They wanted it all, huh?
Old-fashioned telephone, and here's where you would pick up the phone and you would have a person at the other end of the line. And she would ask who you wanted to talk to. You would say a name and they would put you through. Yes. You didn't even have to give a number. All the silver's out because everything was about showing your wealth.
Right.
They were the most prestigious family in the area and they wanted you to know it. So kitchen is in vast contrast to the rest of the house because it's not fancy at all.
Yeah, it looks like a totally different house.
They had a Chinese cook. He didn't let anybody into the kitchen but himself. Even the children had to get their water in another room. And he did all the cooking, and in those days, now you're talking 1883, and you know how hot our summers are here, they didn't have electricity, so they had a little cart, not theirs, but there was an iceman that would come along the road there with this cart full of big, huge chunks of ice.
And they put it in here?
And they would chip off however many pounds you put on your window that you wanted that day. Chip it off, take big tongs, carry it in, and put it in here. But I'm not going to open this because I always open and the door practically falls off. But
It's okay.
there's a very small little area in there, so there was a lot of spoilage, a lot of sickness from spoiled food. You have live-in servants, and if you have live-in servants, they usually have a staircase that's just rickety and old and yucky. But you can tell that this was a family-used staircase because it's really pretty.
Right.
So the family would come in that door. They didn't come in the front door, right there.
Yeah,
and they would come up the back stairs. We do have 3 floors. And during the apartment house days, in fact, one of the docents actually lived up there. Her grandpa owned McHenry Mansion.
Oh.
This they have set up as if it were a maid's room. But like I said, it's unlikely they actually had any live-in help. People would come in early in the morning and stay till late at night, but not live here.
Right.
And it was going to be a parking lot. They were going to tear it down and put a parking lot in.
That's crazy.
And this whole street was lined with mansions. And you know, McHenry Avenue was lined with arts and crafts houses. Beautiful detail and all that. And they took it all down and
That's crazy.
turned it into what it is now. So anyway, in those days, they had this fixed up like it might have been for a little boy's room. The pictures are kind of tilted so a little child could see them easily. And they're all hung from the rails. So anyway, in those days, they had chocolate sets for little kids. They didn't have tea parties, they had chocolate parties.
Nice.
And all the little boys, well, in fact, I have a picture of my father, so that dates me really. He was born in 1905, and I have a picture of him with his hair long curls, a dress, and a big bow on the side of his hair. They looked very much just like those little girl dolls.
Yeah.
So the next room to your left is the bride's room, and we have a lot of weddings here.
Is this where they get ready when they do get
Yeah,
weddings?
that's why they have the big mirror here.
Okay.
And this is has hung in the mansion for years and years, although they say it wasn't here at the time of the McHenrys, but it was from the 1800s. The little boy who probably occupied the room next door was Ordained. Now that's Robert Matilda's only son's older child, Robert. And this is his first wife, and many years later.
This is his first wife?
Uh-huh. And this is their wedding picture, which is amazing. She looks like she's about 15.
Oh my
Very
goodness.
fancy, though. You could tell that there was money
Yeah, how
there
pretty.
then.
Love the frame.
And this is one of their daughters. She's the one that gave the funds for the stove in the kitchen and also the.
Is she still alive?
No. But also the fence that was out in front. And here she is in older years. She's very glamorous for those days.
Oh, she sure is. Hey, own it, right?
Yeah.
Pretty.
Bed is called a 3/4 size bed because everybody was miniature in size in those days. So you can't even buy a 3/4 size bed anymore. You have to have a mattress especially made because the people were so small and most of them slept elevated.
You talking about lengthwise?
Length and width.
Okay.
Foot warmer down there, a top hat case here.
This is a fancy room.
Over here, you see the little porcelain container with the hole out of the center. If you brushed your hair, you saved your hair. Because if you were really rich and really bored, you would do hair pictures.
That is crazy.
Not to my taste, but
Yeah, it's different.
it's different.
It's unusual.
So you're done with the big heavy wood furniture. You've gone to brass, and you have wicker furniture, which is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually, you'll love this. That's a hair wreath up there. Somebody spent many hours putting together. Must have borrowed hair from all their neighbors to get the right shapes.
So the whole thing is hair?
Well, not the blue, but
Right, but everything on the wreath
yes,
is hair?
Even that bow, that is amazing.
That is crazy.
I love this. This is new for us, and I love it. On the far side, that's what you would. Now, this is for a very wealthy lady of leisure, not the lady that cleaned the carpets or
Right.
mopped the floors.
People like us.
You see the picture up above? That's how she would dress when she got up in the morning. And so she'd have a real fancy something like that. Then she would, until noon or 1, she'd put on called a morning coat. Now we talked about this being Queen Victoria's era. Well, Queen Victoria lost her husband Albert when she was fairly young. I think 40-something, I don't know. Anyway, so she never wore anything but black after that. So that caught on. So women wore black. And not everybody, but it was high fashion. They had all dark colored stones in their jewelry, and that's why you see the garnet. And they also used a lot of onyx during that time.
Very pretty.
So this is called a fainting couch because they were all cinched in like crazy, and their skirts were real full, and they could barely make it up the stairs. And so sometimes they would always have to sit down, and so they always had a couch available, and some ladies would actually faint because they couldn't breathe because they were cinched in so tight. They had like 16-inch waists when they were cinched in. So it's a picture of Aura Louise, and the little desk over there belonged to Albert, who was Robert's little brother. He died early on in a
this one here?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cute picture.
Water accident.
Sounds like they had a lot of tragedy.
It wasn't yeah.
Right?
It was pretty, I felt really sorry for Louise, who was Ormel's first wife. He was a difficult person.
Nasty.
Yeah, he was. So the boys, Robert and Albert, they would slide down a banister when they were little. And the stained glass down here is original, which is amazing that it's lasted.
This is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I'm glad I got to take you guys through.
Yeah, we really enjoyed it.